Good afternoon. Last week, the village board unanimously sent the governor a resolution that, among other things, asked that we open up restaurants indoor in a limited capacity. We use 14 days to move on to the next phase like every other state, country, and expert we can find recommends. At this time, we have received no response. Again. We have tried to reason with and work with the governor and legislators. Frankly, we are getting nowhere. There is no logic, data, or science being shared to explain the restrictions we are living with. I call it weird science. For months, we were told it was safe to go to warehouse stores, grocery stores, approved department stores, and hardware stores. However, you could catch COVID if you went to disapproved department stores, or bridal boutiques, or game stores. Where was the data that supports this? You can go to an essential store with hundreds of other people, but if you go golf with 4 people, you will get COVID. You were allowed to buy plants like annuals at hardware stores and grocery stores because apparently you can't get COVID there. However, you were not allowed to buy plants at a landscape nursery or at a flower shop. Apparently, standalone businesses that sell only plants are havens for COVID. Selling pot was not only essential, but selling goods and services at a family-owned business was not. Pot wasn't even legal, and pot dispensaries didn't even exist in this state until 6 months ago. And in those few months, they became essential. But a family-owned business in existence for 5 generations was not. Really? We know that over 90% of the people who died from COVID had pre-existing health conditions. Yet, we were still not allowed to work out at the gym. However, cannabis was deemed essential. Getting high was okay, so was the liquor store. Getting drunk is approved. You really can't make this up. Speaking of working out, finally, you can now work out in the gym, on gym equipment, if and only if you have someone else next to you, a private trainer. But you can't use the gym by yourself. I guess only those who can afford a private trainer get to work out. People who needed a hip or knee replacement couldn't get it. Elective surgeries weren't allowed. Even worse, throughout this ordeal, you could go to the hospital and get tested for COVID, assuming they actually had the tests. However, you could not go there to get a colonoscopy. How many people will die because of later detection? What sense did this make? A family of 6 was allowed to pile in their car and drive to a lake without contracting COVID, but if they all got in the same boat, they were going to get it. We were told that kids rarely contract the virus and sunlight kills it, but summer youth programs, sports programs were canceled. Drive-in fast food restaurants could take cash transactions all day long. However, non-essential retail could only take credit cards. COVID apparently doesn't transfer to people at fast food restaurants via cash, but it does in a retail store. Does COVID know the difference? Because COVID was so dangerous, over 10,000 convicted criminals were let out of state and county jails because it wasn't safe. However, if restaurant owners opened up, the state threatened them with jail. Apparently, the jails are safe for business owners, who I guess are now criminals, if they try to earn a living. Jails were too crowded for convicted criminals, but not too crowded for business owners. Do you remember when your dog could get groomed for the entire month of May? However, you couldn't get a haircut. Or ladies, you couldn't go to a nail salon. Even worse, salon owners were threatened with imprisonment as well if they dared to open. Do you remember when we were allowed to vote and stand in crowded places, in long lines, and touch the same screen over and over again? But at the same time, we couldn't eat at a restaurant? In fact, we still can't eat inside at a restaurant. A group of ladies in 2 groups on a patio at a restaurant asked me about this the other day. I told them that according to the governor, you are allowed to sit at a table in a group of 10 people, indoors or outdoors. You can talk and socialize. However, if you want to eat or drink, it becomes dangerous. If you are inside, you must move outside. But when you go outside, you must separate 4 people from the group because groups bigger than 6 are dangerous if you're eating or drinking. Whatever you do, don't go inside and eat or drink. COVID is lurking. I am certain there is scientific research and data behind this asinine display of logic. Religious activities were not allowed for months. People peacefully protesting the stay-at-home order were told their actions were going to kill people. Socializing in groups of 10 or more at your home or at a club or at a park are not allowed. However, the activities of last week were A-OK. Somehow, scientific evidence must show COVID knows the difference between what is being protested for. The actual data shows that COVID cases and hospitalizations continue to decrease rapidly. It is time for the governor to open up our restaurants and move on to the next phase at 14 days, which would be this Friday, June 12th. Enough is enough. It's time to use real data and science.